Okay, so I just sat down to film this video and my heat turned on, so I had to get up and turn it off because it gets very warm in here. But it's still so crazy to me that it's time to run the heat. I guess it depends on where you live, but where I live, it's very cold in the morning and then a little bit warmer in the afternoon. And we actually have snow in the forecast for Friday. I don't know if it's like a lot of snow. I just saw the little snowflake symbol in the weather app, but it's that time of the year. It's getting very close to the holiday season. Brady and I were just talking about when we want to put our Christmas tree up, and we usually set aside a day and like decorate and watch Christmas movies. And it's weird that that's coming up in just a few weeks. Although I know some people are like, no Christmas movies, no Christmas decorations until after Thanksgiving. We usually do it a little bit earlier because we're usually gone for Thanksgiving or part of the holiday season visiting family, but I don't think we'll be going anywhere this year. So we might wait a little while. But are you guys a big fan of decorating early in November, or do you wait until Thanksgiving is over? Anyway, today we are chatting about new makeup. So I actually have a lot of drugstore products to talk about, which makes me so happy. I've kind of been focusing on holiday releases over the past few weeks, and I might have a few holiday products, but a lot of drugstore brands are releasing new things. Of course, there is a Natasha Denona palette, some ColourPop releases, so a lot of things that I'm excited to hear your thoughts on. Okay, let's start with ColourPop. They have a few new products that I wanted to talk about, including their new Cool Toned palette. This is available now on their website for $34. It's called the Stone Cold Fox palette. So I posted about this one on my Instagram, and I asked you guys if you thought the shades were really appealing and shades that you reach for all the time, or if it was a little bit repetitive, and the answers were split right down the middle. So I think the reality is that a lot of people love to wear neutrals, and as fun as colorful palettes are, they don't appeal to everyone. And when it comes to neutral palettes, there are cooler toned options out there, but I think it's kind of becoming a little bit more popular. They're maybe a little bit trendy right now, so people who love cool tones do have more options to choose from. So this is a large palette. It's pretty affordable for what you get. So it's $34, but you get 30 different shadows. It is similar in size and layout to the Bare Necessities palette or the So Jaded palette. So if you guys have those, that's what it looks like. Typically, I don't love super large, bulky palettes. I tend to avoid anything that comes with maybe more than 15 shadows. Honestly, I do prefer like a 9-pan. That's kind of my favorite size. But I know as far as, large palettes go, these are a little bit smaller and compact. They're very thin. They're easy to store. They're not uncomfortable to use. So I think this palette is going to be maybe for those of you that don't have a lot of eyeshadow in your collection. I love eyeshadow. I do have a lot of options, but I know there are people out there who like to purchase one palette every few years and use it up completely, or hit pan on the majority of the shadows. And if you love cooler tones, I could see why this one would appeal to you, because there are a lot of shades, a lot of textures, and I almost feel like this one has more variety than maybe the Natasha Denona Glam palette. Obviously, there are double the amount of shadows, but the Glam palette kind of focuses on browns and taupes, silvers, and grays. You do get those shades in this palette, but you also get a bunch of rosy tones, some pinky shades, so I do think you would be able to create a bunch of different looks using it. I don't think I'll buy it. It's really tempting, and I love cooler toned neutrals. They've kind of been my go-to, but I feel like I've purchased maybe 3 cooler toned neutral palettes within the past few months, so I'm just kind of looking to purchase something different as my next palette. During October, I did purchase the ColourPop That's So Taupe palette, which is cooler toned, but it comes with 9 shadows. If this Stone Cold Fox palette came out before That's So Taupe, I probably would have purchased it, just because you obviously get a lot more variety, but I do love the That's So Taupe palette. I think I'm going to film a get ready with me using it this week. So stay tuned for that. It's been really nice. And if you want a smaller curated version, you might enjoy that. But this palette is really gorgeous, really appealing. I think I just need to skip over it because I'm kind of set with cool toned neutrals for right now. It does look like ColourPop is releasing 3 new 9-pan palettes, which is perfect if you do like the 9-pan layout. That is my personal favorite. I think they do a really good job at curating those palettes, so you do get enough options to create different looks. And they're typically, I think, $12 to $14, so it's a good way to add a palette to your collection without spending a ton of money. So this is a limited edition collection. It is an Ulta exclusive. They're going to be available in stores and online for $14 each at some point in November. So I'll keep you guys posted if I do hear an exact release date. So there are 3 options. The first one is the Ornate palette. And I did see a sneak peek of this earlier in the week. So there are some pictures of swatches, which I'll include in today's video, but there aren't pictures of swatches of the other ones, at least not yet. This one is like a medium toned palette. It has some really pretty warm tones. You get some orangey reds, some reddish browns, and I do think it is a fun palette for fall. If you have a lot of warm tones, this one might not appeal to you, but it does look like it is more of a medium toned palette compared to a lot of the lighter neutral palettes they've been releasing, so it's nice to see that. The Grandeur palette kind of looks like a mix between the two, so it has some warm tones and some cool tones. It does kind of look like the Dream Street palette from Kathleen Lights, but maybe a little bit more toned down. So that one is pretty, but I think the one that appeals to me the most is the Baroque palette, just because it has a lot of gorgeous blues. I would love to see what these look like in person, but that one is really appealing to me. I love to wear blues, especially during the winter season. So I do want to add some sort of colorful palette to my collection during the month of November, so I might consider this one. I'm kind of going back and forth between whether or not I should purchase the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette during the upcoming Sephora VIB sale, because I have been wanting that one. That one has a lot of pretty purples, so I'm not sure yet, but I would say out of the three, that's the one I like the most. All right, let's talk about the new Natasha Denona release. I knew she wasn't quite done yet. I think I said this in a recent video, but I was just anticipating some sort of holiday palette for her, and I wonder if this is the last one, but she has been releasing a lot of products this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if we even see another one because it's only October, but I wasn't really expecting this for some reason. I guess I never really know what to expect from the brand, but they released the Glam palette, then the Mini Zendo, and this is their new palette coming out on November 3rd, so it's called the Triochrome palette. It is a limited edition release, and it's going to be available for $129. When I first saw the photos of this palette, I thought it was so pretty. It immediately caught my eye because I do love purples, and this has a bunch of purple tones. This kind of inspired me, or inspired today's look. I'm wearing the ColourPop Lilac You a Lot palette, and then I am wearing this Stila Glitter and Glow liquid shadow in the shade Sea Siren. This is a little bit old. I should probably think about decluttering it soon, but it still applied really nicely. So the purples caught my eye, but I will say the shimmers really caught my eye as well because I love Natasha Denona's shimmer formula. I like her matte shadows, but they're not as appealing to me as her shimmers because her shimmers just look amazing on the eyes. So I did take a closer look, and there are a few things that I don't love about this palette. So first of all, this is not one of her $65 palettes. It's actually one of her more expensive $129 palettes. And it's been kind of nice to see Natasha Denona move away from those really expensive palettes down to something maybe a little bit more practical and affordable. I mean, I hesitate to use the word affordable because $65 is still a lot for an eyeshadow palette, but I think when they released the Sunrise palette, they saw a lot of success at that price point. I mean, they must have, because they released Love, Glam, and Bronze all at that price point and that size, and they haven't done a lot of super large palettes since then. I know they had a pretty large holiday palette last year, and I know when people love the brand, they're willing to pay that much money for an eyeshadow palette, but I just think it'd be so nice to see them kind of stick with those medium-sized palettes, because when you get like one of those $65 palettes, like when I did, I was like, this is a good sized eyeshadow palette. You get more than enough product, and it's not like I would ever finish up one of those palettes, let alone one of her bigger palettes. I know some people say like the expensive palettes are worth the money. When you break it down price per gram, it makes sense. You get a ton of product and it's actually not that expensive price per gram, but that's not something that I usually take into consideration with eyeshadow because it's not something I use up super quickly. And when it comes to her formula in particular, it's not very powdery, and I don't find that I hit pan on her shadows really at all, and definitely not compared to how fast I hit pan on something like an Anastasia formula or a ColourPop formula. The second thing that I don't love about this palette is the fact that you only get 3 of those Triochromes. The Triochromes are really interesting to me because I don't know that I've ever tried a formula like that, and I've been meaning to place an order from a few different indie websites. I've gotten some good recommendations from you guys about like indie brands that actually make triochromes and amazing duochromes and just really fun shimmer shadows. So that's something I am looking into, and if you have any other recommendations, please let me know. But I will say, if this palette had a few more of those triochromes or even like some duochromes, some interesting shimmers, it might have made it worth that higher price tag to me. But the majority of the shadows in here, I mean, 12 of them are matte shadows, and I like her matte formula, but not as much as her shimmer formula. Her recent releases like Bronze and Glam have had mainly shimmers and not as many mattes, and that was a huge selling point to me because I love her shimmers. But I know that sometimes people feel the opposite way and they'd rather see more mattes than shimmers. And the last reason why I don't think I'll be buying this palette is because there are shades in here that I won't wear. There's an orange, 2 yellows, and I might reach for them like once or twice, but not enough to justify this price tag. So to be completely honest with you, I mean, even if this was a $65 palette, I don't know that I would grab it. One last thing, I know that I've been going on and on about this palette. I actually saw this picture on Trend Mood, and this makes the palette look completely different. It doesn't even look the same. The matte shadows are so light. They're like really light pastels. The shimmers don't really look that eye-catching, and I don't know, the promo photos just make it look a lot more appealing. So I feel like that kind of solidifies my decision. Is just not something I need. So if the purples and the Triochrome palette pulled you in like they did for me, but you're looking for something a little bit more simplified or curated, you might actually like this new palette from Juvia's Place. So this is one that I'm thinking about trying. It is the Nubian Royal palette, and it comes with 6 shadows for $15. So you can actually get this on their website now, and it's also available on Ulta's website as part of a set. So if you're looking for a bundle with some of their other products, you might be interested in that. I'll link it below. I like that Juvia's Place has been doing these mini palettes because it's a nice way to try their formula, add shadows to your collection, but not necessarily buy a full palette or pay a lot of money, even though Juvia's Place is pretty affordable even for their super large palettes. But I love the fact that brands are just doing mini palettes because at this point, I think a lot of us do have more than enough eyeshadow in our collection, but sometimes you still want to try something new. So it's nice to have a mini option. So this one comes with 3 matte shadows, 3 shimmers. They're all purple tones. I do love purple eyeshadow, so I might grab this as one of my palette purchases for 2020. I only have 2 left, November and December. And like I said, I'm kind of eyeing the Melt Cosmetics palette, but I do love Juvia's Place. They make one of my favorite formulas, so I've been thinking about this one. If purples aren't your thing, they also did the Nubian Glow palette. So this one also retails for $15, and it comes with 6 shadows, but these are really pretty warm golden tone shadows. And then there's a pop of orange and then also a shimmery pearl. I don't think I'll grab this one because I do have a lot of really pretty golds in other Juvia's Place palettes and not as many purples. So I do feel like I don't necessarily need this one, but it is pretty. And then they also released a new tinted lip balm. I've been loving tinted lip balms, so this one does jump out at me. It's infused with mango and shea butter to provide protection against dehydration, and then they have other oils that are obviously meant to moisturize the lips. I can't get enough of tinted lip balms. I think they're so fun, they're so pretty, but they're also very practical because they do hydrate your lips. So I think next time I'm placing an order on their website, I will grab one of these. They are available now for $12 each, and there are a couple of different shades. So before we get into all of the drugstore products, I did want to mention 2 more holiday releases from Fenty. So they've kind of been releasing them slowly one by one, but they do have 2 new options to add. The first one is the Full Snap Eyeshadow Palette and Mini Mascara Set, and it retails for $29. So you get a limited edition eyeshadow palette with 3 shimmers and 3 mattes, and then a mini version of their full frontal mascara. I recently tried a mini version of this mascara. They did a few colorful shades. They did like a green and a burgundy, and I didn't like the formula. I didn't like the fact that the color didn't show up that well on my lashes. I still need to try it with a lash primer because a few of you guys suggested that, and I didn't think of that for some reason. But other than that, the actual formula wasn't super impressive to me. It didn't make my lashes look super long or voluminous. I do feel like it did lift and curl them. So if that's kind of your main goal with mascara, that might actually appeal to you. It's definitely more of a dry formula, but after trying the mini, I definitely won't be purchasing the full-size version of that. So obviously I'm not interested in it for that reason. The palette is nice and it does look quite a bit different from their other Snap Shadow palettes, but I don't know. I don't think I love this color combination for some reason. Part of me thinks it's really fun, and then part of me is just not into it at all, so I can't decide. I think I would rather just pay $25 for one of their other Snap Shadow palettes and choose a color story that really jumps out at me and skip over this set. So I would say it's probably only going to be worth it to you if you love that palette and then you've kind of been interested in trying the mini mascara. Otherwise, it might be more ideal just to purchase one of their other Snap Shadows if you've been wanting to try that formula. I think the other set might be a little bit more appealing to a lot of people because this does come with some of their cream products. So this is the Fenty Glow Trio Face Lip and Body Set. It's a little bit more expensive. It's $42, but it does come with a full-sized gloss bomb in Fenty Glow, which is the original gloss. It's one of my favorites. And then a mini diamond bomb in Fenty Glow. Oh, and then a full-sized Cheeks Out Cream blush, also in Fenty Glow. So you get 2 full-size products and a mini for $42. The shades in this set are really pretty, and I do think they would be flattering on a variety of skin tones just based on the initial promo photos. If you're someone who is new to the brand or you've been wanting to try out these formulas in particular, this might be really appealing to you. I won't be grabbing it because I do have that lip gloss. I do have the full-size version, but I don't wear a lot of cream cheek products. I've kind of been thinking about getting back into them because, as you'll see in a second, a lot of brands are doing cream cheek products, but I told myself I have to stop buying them because there are formulas that I enjoy, but 9 times out of 10, I reach for a powder blush or a powder highlighter over a cream product. I think I want to love them because so many people love creams and get so excited about it, and I want to get excited about them too, but they just, I don't know. I feel like I just have a hard time working with them. Like, that just isn't something that comes easily for me. Now, if you are someone who is into cream blush, you're going to be really excited about the next few drugstore options that I have to share with you. e.l.f. just released their putty blush for $6. It is available now on their website and it comes in 8 shades. It's supposed to be a highly pigmented, creamy formula that melts into your skin for a natural glow. And then they say it's lightweight and buildable, and it's supposed to be like a cream to powder finish. Okay, so maybe if I'm wanting to kind of get back into cream blush, this might be a good formula to start with. That makes it feel, or I guess just seem, a little bit less intimidating. The fact that it applies like a cream and then dries down like a powder sounds really nice. Now, I recently tried their putty primer. I'm actually wearing the matte putty primer on my face today. I kind of wonder how it's going to apply because I'm thinking about the putty primer, and if I was to like stipple that onto my cheek, it doesn't necessarily blend super well at first. Like, you have to rub it into the skin, at least I do, for like the best application. So I'm curious about these putty blushes and how like smooth and creamy they are. They're probably not formulated in the exact same way that the primers are formulated because it's a blush. I'm sure it's a little bit different, but they're on my maybe list for now. Maybe I'll watch some reviews, look for some swatches before I decide, but they do sound interesting. So speaking of the e.l.f. Putty Primer, they did release a little trio for $9, so you can actually get all 3 versions of their Putty Primer for $9. Now, these are travel versions, but you do get the original, the matte version, and the luminous. I've tried all of them except for the luminous Putty Primer. The matte is obviously great if you have oily skin, but I also like the regular version because that kind of gives my skin a little bit of a natural glow. So maybe I'll try the luminous version as well. I don't know, I feel like I'm pretty happy with the matte version and the original, but it's nice that you can try all 3 for $9 and see which one works well for you. Now, Milani has some new blushes. So they have baked blushes and cream blushes. The baked blushes are just like their regular baked blush formula, but there are 2 new shades. There's a really pretty bright orange and then a nice warm terracotta. I love their baked blush formula. I think I've still only tried Luminoso, and for years I've said that I'm going to purchase more of them, and I just haven't done it. So I don't know if I'll buy these 2 shades in particular, but they are really nice if you do tend to prefer more of a bold look with your blush. If you guys love the Milani baked blushes, what's your favorite shade? You'll have to let me know because I do want to try more of them. Okay, so other than their baked blushes, they're also releasing these Cheek Kiss cream blushes. These come in 4 shades and they're $8.99 each. They're supposed to blend seamlessly for a natural flushed from within glow. It says they're lightweight and buildable, but never greasy. Oh, okay, wait, it's actually a lip balm to gel cream formula. So I guess you can use it on the lips and the cheeks. And it says that it's a gel cream, which is what the Flower Beauty blush bombs are, and I love those. It sounds nice. The formula doesn't necessarily appeal to me as much as e.l.f.'s formula, but it does look like it might be a little bit more ideal if you like a really dewy look. I don't typically love products that are meant to do 2 things. Like, products that are meant to be used on the lips and the cheeks don't always work out for me, just because I do find that they're a lot more moisturizing. They don't really dry down, but if you like a really glowy or dewy appearance, you might enjoy these, and they have some great shades to choose from that look like they would work for a variety of skin tones. So one of the questions I get a lot is what type of eyeliner I recommend. Not necessarily liquid liner because I do talk about that a lot, but a lot of you guys ask me about colorful liners or pencil liners. Typically I use the Urban Decay liners or the ColourPop cream gel liners. I like the ColourPop liners because they're a lot more affordable. They used to break very easily, but I do feel like they've kind of improved a little bit. But if you're looking for another option, LA Girl actually released these new Pastel Dream Auto eyeliners for $4.99 each. So they have 6 different shades. They say that they are insanely smooth and pigmented. You can smudge it, smoke it out, or use it as an eyeshadow base. And they're supposed to have 16-hour wear time. So there's a really pretty pink, a purple, and then there's a bright lime green and a bright yellow, a fun blue, and then also a white. I think next time I place an Ulta order, I will pick up 1 or 2 of these so I can test them out and let you guys know if the formula is worth trying. I really like the purple shade. That looks really fun. So I just think it's nice to have a good affordable or another good affordable option if you don't like the ColourPop liners or you like Urban Decay but you don't want to spend that much money. And I like that they have some fun colorful pastel shades. Flower Beauty recently released a bunch of products. A lot of you guys told me that they had released a lot of things and I was really surprised because Flower Beauty kind of fell off my radar. I almost thought the brand was kind of like closing things up a little bit because they were pulling out of a lot of stores and they weren't available at a lot of different retailers. Whenever I mentioned them in a video, you guys said you couldn't find their products anywhere, and the only place that I had purchased from in like the last year or 2 was just directly from their website. Recently, they did restock some of their products on Ulta's website, but I read online that they're now available at CVS, which is kind of nice if you do want to purchase their products in stores. I don't know how many of you guys actually have a CVS around you. I do have one, but I don't typically go there. I feel like I haven't been to an actual drugstore to look for makeup in maybe like a full year at this point. But anyway, there are some really nice new products. So they have a skin serum, a color corrector, some lip glazes. There is a new serum foundation for $15. It comes in 16 shades, which isn't great, but that is better than their Light Illusion foundation, so maybe they're working on expanding. It's a hydrating, weightless, buildable foundation that conceals the skin, leaves it looking smooth, and has a natural-looking radiant finish. And then they also have a brow gel, a lip stain, a brow pencil, all kinds of things. They have some new eyeshadow quads for $11 each. It says that this formula is crease-free, luxurious, and they have really rich color payoff. So I would love to try some of their new products and do a review for you guys. So that is everything I have to chat about in today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a great week. Let me know if there's anything you want to see on my channel over the next week or 2 because I would love to film it for you. But thanks for watching. I appreciate that you guys take time out of your day to watch one of my videos and hang out with me. It really means so much, and I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.